In this video, we continue to review the fire logics for the weapons. And next on the list is the hammer. We have our custom event. And first, we're checking if weapon will fire is not 0. If the condition is satisfied, then we go to a sequence of events. First, we are setting weapon will fire to 0 so that nothing else happens during our swing. The delay represents the swing rate. And after the delay, we set weapon will fire back to 0 or back to 1. Next in the sequence, just to clarify, the sequence happens independently. So this does not happen when this ends. It shoots right after this. So these events are sort of like independent, unless here we change a variable that is being used in our next logic. So this will start happening almost simultaneously with this. And this delay roughly equals the length of the animation. We run our animation for the hammer and the character arms. Since the skeletons of the weapons and the arm is the same, we are simply applying the same animation. We will take a closer look at the components, weapons, and the skeleton later on. We play the animation. For the hammer, we also spawn sound attached, and after a slight delay to let our swing land, we make the line trace by channel, very similar to the one that we had for the fists. However, this one is a bit extended further. Next, we check again, just like in the previous logic for the fists, if we hit something or not. Break hit results. We apply damage, only here we use the hammer damage. Let's see the variables for the hammer, by the way. The damage and hammer inventory. This represents whether we have the hammer in our inventory or not. This is used by weapon selection logic. Everything from here on is exactly the same as the fists. We check if we are our target is that we hit is simulating physics. We add impulse at location, and we go to hit effects. We gather the information from the hit results, pass it on here. We check the surface material, spawn the emitter, bind event on particle collide, create material instance, set the scallop parameter value, which is for some reason is 11. You can set it to 16, and so on. Since the logic for the hammer mostly repeats the logic for the fists, there's nothing more to explain here, and the video is rather short, so we'll take this opportunity to talk about line trace channels. Each object has a certain response to trace channels. If we look at our own capsule component, in the components, under collision, we can go to collision preset and extend it. And here we can see collision responses. And we can see that our capsule component blocks visibility channel and blocks camera channel. So any line trace that will happen if it hits us, it will return the value. So when the shotgun shooter monster shoots us, it uses the same line trace channel and uses the same visibility channel. And since we set this to block, it will hit us. If we set it to ignore, then the shots from the shotgun shooter will be ignored. We can add more channels, because as the game expands, you might need more channels. For example, I'm using the camera channel for opening doors. Let's take a quick look. You can see here, input action open. I'm doing the line trace by channel, camera. If we take a quick look, content, level, doors, BP door, viewport. Here we have box trigger. And here we can see our responses for the trace channels. And we can see that it ignores visibility and blocks the camera. So this way, whenever I'm using the camera channel, I will get the hit result. And we can use this to trigger an event in our door. But we will look at this logic later. Let's get back here. And the visibility channel is set to be ignored so that we can shoot through the empty frame. Because when the door opens, the door goes up or in other direction, but the box trigger remains in the empty frame so that we can trigger it. Since we want to shoot through, we need to set the visibility channel to be ignored and the camera channel still to be blocked to return the hit result. Visibility channels can be added in the project settings. I mean the trace responses, of course. The trace channels. Here in the project settings, we have the option to add new trace channel. Those two are there by default. And you can add a new one and use it for other purposes.